Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is the 7th part of my series where I share classical music selections in the form of albums and the occasional film, and this I hope will help guide a new listener to classical music on what to listen to and how to go about choosing their selections. And I also hope it will help someone who already is a lover of classical music find some great hidden gems. So let's get started. Our first album for today is called Songs of Orpheus, and it features the tenor Karim Sulayman. He is accompanied by an ensemble called Apollo's Fire, and the conductor and music director of Apollo's Fire is Jeanette Sorel. In Greek mythology, Orpheus was a Greek hero who was a musician, a poet, and a prophet. And on this album, you have various songs touching on various aspects of his mythology, and the songs are by different composers. So you have Monteverdi, Caccini, Castello, Landi, De India, and other composers from this Baroque era. So these are early 17th century composers. So a little bit about Karim Sulayman. So he's a Grammy-winning tenor. He's of Lebanese American origin, and he's really well praised for his intelligence and artistic singing, as well as his really unique program selections. Apollo's Fire is a Baroque music ensemble, and they debuted in 2016 in Chicago. The music director is Jeanette Sorel. Absolutely wonderful album. I highly recommend it. I recommend it because Karim Sulayman is just an absolutely beautiful tenor. His tenor voice is gorgeous. Our second album selection for today is Handel's Julius Caesar. The full Italian name is Giulio Cesare in Egitto, that is Julius Caesar in Egypt. So on here you have Norman Treigle playing the role of Julius Caesar and singing it, and Beverly Sills, the soprano, lovely American soprano, she is singing the role of Cleopatra. This is by the New York City Opera Orchestra and Chorus. The conductor was Julius, and this is a live recording. It was released on BMG Classics in 1967. So I'm particularly attached to this recording because it was the very first Julius Caesar I ever heard. When it was originally performed, when Handel wrote it, it was performed by a castrati. And I spoke about castratis and countertenors in an earlier series of mine, so you can check out my earlier series. A little bit more about the cast on this recording. So again, a bass baritone plays Caesar, and he's Norman Treigle, and he is one of the most renowned bass baritones in opera history. He died very young at the age of 47. You have Beverly Sills. She is a coloratura soprano, and again she's one of the legendary sopranos of opera. So once again, this is Julius Caesar, this time being performed by the New York City Opera Orchestra and Chorus, and it features Norman Treigle, the bass baritone, and Beverly Sills, the wonderful soprano. Our third album selection for today is called Romance of the Violin, and it features Joshua Bell on his Gibson Stradivarius violin. He's accompanied by the Academy of St. Martin in the Fields, and the conductor this time is Michael Stern. On this album, you have composers covering the classical, romantic, and 20th century eras of music. Joshua Bell plays these songs, which weren't initially written primarily for the violin, in a really beautiful manner. So it's aptly named Romance of the Violin. It's a very beautiful sounding album. And our fourth album selection for today leads us into the legendary artist to know category of this series. And our legendary artist for today is the beautiful lyrical soprano Barbara Hendricks. This album is called Mozart's Sacred Airs. So here you have a collection of arias from various mass works of Mozart, as well as Vespers. So our featured soprano is Barbara Hendricks. She's accompanied by the Academy and Chorus of St. Martin in the Fields, conducted by Sir Neville Mariner. This album was released on EMI Classics in 1987. Barbara Hendricks was born in 1948 in Stevens, Arkansas. As a child, she took singing lessons. She graduated from the Julius School of Music. In addition, she has a bachelor's degree in mathematics and chemistry. She made her operatic debut in 1974 at the Glyndebourne Festival in the UK. In the USA, she debuted at the San Francisco Opera. In 2006, she left the EMI label for a label that was created specifically to release her recordings called Arte Verum. Barbara Hendricks is a lyric soprano of great vocal beauty. In 1992, she was awarded the rank of Chevalier of the Legion d'Honneur. Our fifth album selection for today leads us into the Living Artist to Know category of the series, and our Living Artist to Know for today is the composer Bernard Hughes. So here we have an album called Bagatelles. This was actually released this year on the Divine Art record label, and all the works here are by Bernard Hughes, and the piano is played by Matthew Mills. The term bagatelles in music refers to short, light, usually mellow music written typically for piano. So a little bit about the composer Bernard Hughes. Bernard Hughes studied music at Oxford, and then he had private tutoring with the composer Param Vir, and where he studied composition, and he also got a PhD in composition from London University. He has worked with many ensembles internationally as well as in the UK. He works a lot with the BBC choir and singers. He has an album called Precious Things that was released in 2022, and there his choral works were performed by the Epiphany Consort. He also has works that he has written for families, so that's for both children and adults. One of them is Not Now Bernard. With the BBC choir, he released an album called I Am the Song in 2016. So I will share that I was very fortunate to be able to work with Bernard Hughes as a lyricist last year on an album called Songs for Our Times, which is going to be released next month, October. So I look forward to sharing that with you. Our sixth album selection for today takes us into that miscellaneous category of my series, where I cover traditional classical music from various parts of the world, or I cover film music. Today we're covering music from Corsica, and our artist is Petru Guelfucci. He passed away very recently in 2021, and he is one of the most charismatic and well-known polyphonic singers to emerge from Corsica. The style of singing on this album is the traditional polyphonic music of Corsica. This unique Corsican vocal technique reflects elements of Italian, French, and Greek singing styles. A little bit about Petru Guelfucci. So he was a Corsican singer who was born in 1955 in France, and he passed away in 2021. He came from a family of musicians, and he had his first public performance at the age of 14. He attained international acclaim with his 1991 song Corsica. His singing is done in a very heartfelt and emotional and passionate manner. Once you hear him singing, you'll become captivated. I'm positive. We've come to the end of our series for today. I hope you enjoyed the selections that I shared. I've certainly enjoyed sharing them with you. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I look forward to seeing you on my next video series. Until then, stay well.